Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I'm here with my producer, Joe Gangemi. And Joe, are we going to talk about Contap today?
Yeah, sure thing, Coop. I'd love to. So at Contap, we empower individuals and businesses to microcast their most important information instantly with a simple tap or scan of their smartphone. So whether you're sharing a brand, a message, a moment, or media, our NFC technology enables seamless real-time connections anytime, anywhere. By simplifying the way people broadcast what matters most, we help turn every interaction into an opportunity to engage, inform, and inspire. We offer key fobs, cards, table stands, wristbands, and more. If you'd like to learn more, go to contap.com, CONNTAP, or connect with me, Joe Gangemi, on LinkedIn. Thanks, Coop.
Man, that was really good. You're getting really good at that. Why don't you tell us a little more about SuiteRecording and see if you can top Contap? That'd be really amazing.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do it. But yeah, let me tell you a little bit about the studio. So SuiteRecording is a content and podcast studio here in Mount Laurel. That's where Coop is right now. We help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasts, YouTube, social media content, and just about every other form of video audio content out there. So podcasting is a great tool, of course, for marketing. It's also great for business development too. So if you're interested in learning more about the studio and how we can help you and your brand, contact us anytime, hello@suiterecording.com, or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Thank you, Coop. Take it away.
I know, I tell you, we have an all-female panel today. And this reason, well, the reason I always like to get an all-female panel was because my mom graduated University of Temple University in 1952 with a degree in marketing. And she was the only woman in her class. In fact, before she graduated, she had a job with Campbell Soup. And she waited, when she had her interview, she didn't wear an engagement ring because they thought she would just leave and get pregnant. And she didn't have kids till she was like 28, and that was very different back then. And my mom passed a few weeks ago, so I'm going to keep bringing the female shows, probably even more now, just as a tribute to her because she was a trailblazer, and it's an honor that I was her son. So anyway, yeah, that's why I had to have a female panel on today. I had a chance to finally book an all-female panel, and first we have from Riggs Creative Group, we have Claire Riggs. How you doing, Claire?
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. And then from Jay Hilburn, she's returned, Michelle Roshkoff. How you doing, Michelle?
Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for having me on.
And finally, a woman I talked to Saturday night at my comedy show. She was in the audience from Best Version Media. She'll tell you which areas she has her magazines at. We have Julie Kovaleski. How you doing, Julie?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me as well.
All right. So, Claire, tell us a little about Riggs Creative Group and what you do for them.
Absolutely. So I am a managing partner along with my husband, Stephen. At Riggs Creative Group, we are a strategic communication, integrated marketing and design, and relationship management firm, which basically says that we manage all the communication needs of our clients, from strategy to delivery to measurement. So our sweet spot is businesses that are around 5 million to 100 million, and we either manage their marketing needs totally in-house, or we support their internal marketing needs with their team inside their organization.
Okay. Michelle, tell us a little about what you do there over for Jay Hilburn.
So I recently expanded into, I'm branding myself more as Luxe Personal Styling now because I took on a woman's brand as well, and I'm making handmade jewelry with my daughter. So with the custom wardrobes, I come to your house or your office and measure you and style you, and that's what I do.
That's awesome. And Julie, tell us a little about Best Version Media and the brands you had.
Yeah, so I live here in Collegeville, PA, and I work with small to medium-sized businesses to help build their brand in front of high-value customers through print, digital, and online presence. That's role number one. The other role that I have is I am a division leader with Best Version Media, and I coach, mentor, and recruit individuals that want to do what I do wherever it is that they live. I lead Eastern Pennsylvania specifically, though.
Okay, cool. Now, Claire, tell me your path, because your name's in the company, so it's just, I don't think you just woke up one day and said, I'm going to start Riggs Creative. Tell me your path to being at Riggs Creative and how you ended up where you are today.
Okay. Well, funny story, over 40 years ago, I met my husband at a print shop. I was finishing up my degree at Temple, did a little summer stint with my cousin at my cousin's print shop, and Stephen was working there. And that's his background is print lithography. He went on to grow in that field to being in training and development for a company called Deluxe, still in business. But then when they left the area in 2008, he started Graphic Solutions. So that was his business. My background from college journalism, I went into the master's degree program at Rowan, received my master's in public relations, and I went to work in the petrochemical industry and represented that industry in community relations, media relations, public affairs. Grew from a local role here in South Jersey to a regional role, and then had locations all over the country that I represented. In 2015, our company spun off and sold to private equity. And so that communications branch that I managed was gone. So I came part-time to work with Stephen as a consultant and started teaching at Rowan University. So I still teach at Rowan as an adjunct, just one course a semester now because the business is so busy. And here I'm the strategic lead here for all communications for our clients, which means I'm really in touch with creating their plans, understanding their needs, their opportunities, developing their plans, and then we roll it out to the execution throughout our team. So that's our story.
That's a good story. Temple, you're a Temple Owl. All right, go Owls.
Yeah.
Julie,
Yeah.
how'd you end up with Best Version Media? How did you end up in the print business?
Yeah, so I actually was an elementary teacher. I taught in public and Catholic schools over the years. And after teaching for a little bit, I started to have children, and I have 4 sons. So I stayed home with them for about 14 years. It was time to go back into the workforce, I guess around 2017. And I thought, well, I was a teacher, so I'm just going to teach. So I dabbled back in a little bit. I did some maternity leaves in one of the local public schools here. And I just decided, you know what? Maybe I had my own kids at that point. I just don't know that I want to continue in the path of education. And I went home to my husband one day and he's like, Julie, you love to connect people. Why don't you find something that you're out there in the community on a daily basis? And I thought, that's a really good idea. I guess just because I have my degree in education doesn't mean that's the path I have to continue on. So I sort of stumbled upon the opportunity to launch a community magazine. A few neighboring towns away, I saw a publication and I came home with it and I said, I think this is what I want to do. I love where we're raising our family. I love the community that we live in, the businesses, the people, my neighbors. I live in Collegeville. I think I'm going to learn how to launch a community magazine. I grew up in a small town in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Northeast PA. And where I grew up, everybody knew everybody. And I felt like where we now live in Collegeville, it was sort of that same vibe. So researched Best Version Media, Google search, found out, took the necessary steps. Next thing I know, February of 2017, I, on a wing and a prayer, flew out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I went to 3 days of training. I learned how to launch a community magazine. I came home, I hit the ground running, and the rest is history. My publication will be in print 8 years this July.
Cool. Scranton. There's a seafood place up there called Cooper's, right?
Yes, there is. I frequent it. My family's all still there. So
I always find companies named Cooper, and I try to send them, say, hey, send me a T-shirt. I'll wear it on my show.
That's
and
awesome.
No one does.
I will get you one. I will make sure you got one.
Michelle, tell us how you ended up at J. Hilburn, and then now how you started doing the jewelry, because you've expanded since I've known you. So tell me, what was your path to being in J. Hilburn and the Women's and Lux?
So my parents were, first of all, our family business is market research. I started doing that, and my parents were always coordinated. My mom would always wait and see what my dad was wearing, and then, dress kind of like him, not identical, but they were always coordinated. And you see, the stars doing that sometimes. So, and then my brother, so I had a clothing boutique in Marlton years ago. Then it got to be too much because I was raising my kids. I wanted to raise my kids. And then while I was raising my kids, I started making jewelry. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but then I started making jewelry. And then I said, wait, I want to raise the kids. It's taking up too much time. Whatever I'm doing is full tilt. And I have to concentrate on one thing. So I raised the kids. And then my brother suggested that I work for, look into Jay Hilburn. So, because he had a stylist out in Villanova. And I looked into it. I loved it. And I have been running with it ever since. But it bothered me that I could only offer the clients men's. So, because I gear it towards the busy man, people that don't know how to dress themselves well, where they can make an impact, because the first impression is everything. So I got in touch with a women's brand. It's called Midnight Oil. They have amazing fabrics, the same high quality as J. Hilburn, and it operates pretty much the same way. And so I figured, couples can coordinate, I can coordinate their look, or I can coordinate the company's look, because there's male and female in these high up positions, or wherever, whatever industry you're in, or whatever you need an outfit for. The women need it just as much as the men, and not everybody knows how to dress themselves. So that's how I got into it. And the jewelry, my daughter, Brooke, has been wearing my jewelry for years, and she gets compliments everywhere she goes. So I taught her how to do it, and she caught on right away, and she's been running with it ever since. In fact, she made this and the earrings, matching earrings. So I'm very proud of her.
That's awesome. Midnight Oil is actually an 80s Australian band, too. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, well,
beds are burning.
Did that because of burning the midnight oil.
Right. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I look at right now, and it's funny. It's spring finally, and it's March, and we're almost done March. We're 3 months into the year. So I'm sure you're all goal planners, and you probably have goals you want. So what is your plans? We'll start with you, Julie. What are your plans for the rest of 2025? Because we're one quarter done.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? Well, first of all, this morning I hit one of my goals. I am intentional with connecting the businesses that partner with me. So my community publication is one component of what I do, because we do digital and we do online presence, but we target neighborhoods specifically, and we feature local families on the cover. So I can do that because of the businesses that want to reach the area that I go to. So this morning I hosted a Coffee and Connect, and I gathered my sponsors of my publication together, and we did some networking and 30-second elevator speeches. And it was just one of those, you never know how one business might need another one, or walk away with an idea from bringing these businesses together. So one of my goals for 2025 is to host these on a quarterly basis. Maybe it'll be a Coffee and Connect. Maybe it'll be a happy hour. Oftentimes I'll utilize the businesses that partner with me to bring people to them. So that's one goal. Another goal would be to continue to increase the page count of my publication, so I can bring a lot more local content to the magazine, because that's what draws the readers to want to continue reading it. And of course, to increase sponsorships, so continue to build relationships and connect with local businesses that, again, want to reach my target area.
Okay. How about you, Michelle? Because, as you said, you have the whole new brand now. I mean, you've increased.
Right.
So what are your goals for the rest of 2025? Because you're really spinning. You're taking on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So my goals are to rebrand myself so that it's all inclusive in everything I'm doing, and make a clear message of what I am doing to my audience. And again, make intentional connections, like everybody else has said on here. I have a partner now. Kim Leiby has been great in pushing me to these networking events, and I push her, and we make great connections. We like connecting people. Both of us are the same type of networkers. I was with you last night, Steve, and, we love connecting people as well, and networking and brainstorming. And I just love brainstorming with people. So and with that, when you connect people, it in turn helps you as well. So you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. And I love that.
Okay. How about you, Claire? You're busy. You can only teach one class now because you're so busy. So what are your goals for the rest of 2025?
I think the theme has been for me, not only for this year, even last year and going into 2025, is about sustainability of our business model. So strengthening those aspects, sustainability in the business itself, which when we're talking about that, I'm talking about succession planning. This is a family business. Do we have a family member that's going to step in and continue it, or do we hire in and continue to run remote, more as a consultancy? We're working through all those dynamics. There's a lot of dynamics to work through. I do have a couple family members that are groomed for this, but are not working with us right now. But all that to say, I would say this just the strongest thing I'm focusing on is making sure our team diversifies their skills, they're cross-trained, they're pushing themselves outside of their comfort zones when it comes to not only networking, but with the skills that we bring to the table for clients like writing and blog writing and uh, other strategic outreaches, that we're continuing to push the envelope and being the best that we can be for our clients. I mean, one of our tenets is performance excellence, right? Not perfection, but performance excellence. And so that continuing education, continuing taking on and just stretching, taking on things that are a little different from what we're used to doing, not being in a comfort zone, if you understand, but pushing that envelope, continuing to push that pedal for us as a company.
Okay. So as I'm talking to you, you're talking about families and this, and you're all very busy, and you have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm awful at time management. I'm going to be honest. I am so bad. Like today, I woke up. I had to prepare for my other podcast. I recorded at 9, and then this podcast, and I just fit in a shower, and then I'm going to a networking event. So I actually have some time management today. But usually I'm a procrastinator, and I suck at time management. So we'll start with you, Michelle. Are you good? Are you good with time management? And
You just described me.
and if you aren't, how do you think you can improve it? If you are, why are you good with it? And if you aren't, how can you improve?
I am not. You just described me when you described yourself. In fact, you know that I was texting you at 5 after 11 saying, I'm jumping in the shower. And somehow I got dressed and my hair's dry. That's why I kind of need a power partner, like minds that, push each other. And it's been a tremendous help when you have other people in your corner pushing you and, keeping you on track. And I like to do that for other people as well. I can always help other people more than I can help myself, of course, which is true of a lot of people.
Okay.
So,
Okay. How about you, Claire? How are you in time management? Are you good at it? Are you bad at it? And if you are bad at it, how can you improve it? And if you are good at it, why are you good at it? Because maybe you can give me advice so I can maybe one of you can give me advice so I can get my damn time management all together. So, Claire, tell me about you and time management.
Okay. First of all, I have to pause and just give you my condolences on losing your mother,
Thank
because
you.
that is one of the things that's a struggle for us at this age situation that we're in, is we not only have ourselves, but we have our parents, we have our children and our grandchildren in our situation. So it is quite challenging. My mother's in North Carolina, so I try to schedule time down there, at least once a quarter or every other month, to be with her. That's just a very close to my heart, as you were just sharing right there. So that's most important. So when it comes to this season of my life where my children are older, I don't have to do those touchy points, but I am in touch with them. We have a group chat. We stay very connected that way. As far as time management goes, my planning starts on Sunday. I look at the calendar. We discuss the calendar, Stephen and I. I'm the early riser, so I get up and I I do my early morning industry reading, sharing information with my team. They'll get texts or emails from me on things that I've read that I want them to be concerned about probably between 6 and 7. I do schedule time for exercise, and then after exercise, I take quiet time. I need to have a devotional quiet time to make sure I am connected, not only emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, but I can't be my best and bring my best to my clients if I'm not taking care of myself. And so that's my mornings. And then when I get in here, whether I start working from home or get in here around 9:30, 10, it's the clients. The rest of the day is the clients. And then Steve and I have to push ourselves out the door sometimes, but we're trying to be intentional, leaving a little, at a decent hour. As a family business, you end up talking about work and working at evening. So it's just that constant battle to just say, okay, let's take a break. And so, but we're connected to a number of different groups, whether it's for myself, my own self-development, or my business development, or just he has his own connection points with men and so on. So we make sure that we're staying balanced so we can be our best for each other as well.
Okay, okay. How about you? I mean, 4 boys. Come on, Julie. 4 boys. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know how old they are, but I know it's so funny. Whenever like something happens, like if I could say, if a kid ran like half naked down my street, I would say to my wife, "Ah, there's a kid." And she goes, "I said, there's a kid out running half naked." She goes, "It's probably a boy," because boys. She always says boys are trouble. And when me and her don't have kids, we just know boys are trouble. So, how do you handle? What are you good at time management? And if so, why? And if you're not, how can you improve?
All right. So first of all, is my husband going to be watching this? Because if he is,
He has a different
he's
answer.
going to have a different answer than I like to say, this is how I want to be on paper, but this is how I really am. So, um, some days I'm really good at it, and some days I am not. I will say that I live and die by my Google Calendar. I try to color code it as best I can. You know, we're entrepreneurs, right? So we set our own schedule, which is awesome. So thank God for the Google Calendar. Being a teacher, I always had a lesson plan book, so I had to transition from, paper pen to forcing myself to use a calendar. So I'd like to also say that I try to wake up at the same time every day. But again, if you asked my husband, Kevin, this morning I was hitting snooze and I didn't want to do that, but I did. But to the point that was just made before that, there is a book called The Miracle Morning. And I don't know if you are aware of it, and what you were just talking about kind of made me think of that. The Miracle Morning says that you start your day with intentions, with getting your mind right, reading something. I am big on a gratitude journal, so I start my day that way. Some sort of little exercise piece before I can give back myself. So, again, to answer the question in a very long way, there are days that I'm good, but then there are days where I fall off the wagon. If I look at an email and it gets me sidetracked when I should have been using my time to do something else. But the calendar is for sure something that keeps me focused.
Okay, I like to start my day with Wordle. I like to do Wordle. It gets me
Oh, I
thinking.
used to do that.
And but and then I get frustrated if I can't get it. So then I cheat and I look online to find the answer. I'll be honest, that's what I do. That's why I've got like 250 straight Wordles. So you're busy. You're all busy. You're all working. So we'll stick with you, Julie. Why do you love your job?
Ah,
What is it that makes you love your job?
so many things. As I
Give me a
said
few. Give me a
earlier,
few.
yeah, as I said earlier, I feel like I'm a community connector, right? I come from a place of authenticity where I want to know what I can do to help others. And when you work with small businesses, they make up the backbone of our community. And what can I do to help them with, the pain points that they might be experiencing? So, building relationships in a community is key. And, the 60 plus businesses that partner with me, I visit them on a monthly basis when I'm dropping off their publication. And it just, again, it's building contacts in a community. And you never know, like I said earlier, who they know or who I know that I can help them with. So connecting people Instead of, utilizing Amazon, utilizing these small businesses in our backyard because they're the heart of who we are. And, doing it like genuinely. Like I genuinely said, I love where I'm raising my family. I grew up in a small town. I now live in a small town. And when you're able to bring people together, and you share positive stories, and that's what we do in our publications. It's not the things you hear on the news, right? We are all about highlighting the heroes, the unsung heroes, the families, the individuals in our backyards. I'm fortunate that my publication reaches my own mailbox. So people kind of know me as the magazine girl, if you will, because I've been doing it for so long. But branding other people, regular, neighbors, who's walking their dog down the street. Everybody has a story to tell. And I feel like I provide that platform for these local residents and businesses to get their name out there.
If you have a story of a kid running half naked down the street,
Yeah.
it's probably a little boy. It's probably a little boy.
I'm sure it is.
All
And
right.
the funny part is I have 3 sisters. So I grew up in a house of all women, and now I have all sons.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Claire Riggs, what do you love about your job?
So I will start off saying, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. We all know that. Married entrepreneurship is a whole different animal. So in a way, it's a big challenge because that's all we, like I said, we talk about. But at the same time, we get to share a mission and a vision and activities that just bind us, and it just strengthens our already strong foundation. And so I would say first thing, what I love about my job is I get to do it with my husband. The second thing I would say is that, and you kind of touched on that, is that you're solving problems, right? So people that come to us with communication issues or having a need to reach certain audiences or to, just refine their brand voice or maybe personal branding needs or whatever, we get to, pull the puzzle pieces all apart and then put the puzzle back together and create a roadmap for them to achieve their goals. That's just awesome when you when you can help people take advantage of a huge opportunity that's in front of them or to solve a problem that they have. That just makes you feel good. And I would think the third thing I love about my job right now, I'm 25 plus 30 years into my career, is the mentoring opportunities. Like my team, I don't, we're about collaboration, we're about teamwork and employee empowerment. I'm a resource for them. I want them to know that I'm here to help them grow. I don't want to be the one that's telling them. We want to empower them to solve problems. But I think the biggest thing I love about my job is that I get to mentor, not only teaching the students at Rowan, leadership. We have a leadership Gloucester County program that we just started here in Gloucester County. I'm a part of that facilitation process, but mentoring, leading the next generation of communication specialists, that's huge. I love that.
Okay. And I think you're on a panel for entrepreneurs that I'm moderating on
That's right.
April 3rd at Rowan.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
saw you on it. That's you and Kevin DeDuke and someone else. That's great. So we can talk more. I can finally meet you in person. Michelle, why do you love what you do? Why do you love being a personal stylist?
Well, I've always loved fashion myself, and I love the the self-confidence and the self-esteem my clients seem to have immediately when they put on their new clothes. And it's on Thursday mornings when I go to my Le Tip group, anybody that's bought from me, they save their outfits for when they're doing their when they're up there, they're the talk or the presenter that day. And people have come up to me and said, I saw so-and-so and that has to be yours, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they love it. People notice it. So I just love making people stand out and feel good about themselves and teach them how to feel more confident about getting dressed in the morning.
Okay. So we have 3, as I said, it's an all-female panel. We have 3 female entrepreneurs here. Okay. And I've noticed in the last 10 years, there's been a big uptick of female entrepreneurs, which is great. There's also been a lot more female networking groups. Networking used to be very, and it's still like the Michelle, the one we were at yesterday. It was probably 70% male. And what I love about the female, I mean, you have Joe Colantoni, who has a group over here in Jersey. You have Kelly Warnersbach, who does wonderful things. Michelle Beach, whatever her name, I can't think of her first name, Beach. Susie Pertowski does stuff in Pennsylvania. You just have a lot of female entrepreneurs and networking groups. And we're going to start with you, Claire. Why do you think that is? Why do you think in the last, especially after the pandemic, it's been a really uptick? Why do you think that there's been this explosion? And it's great because, females, you have to be out there. I'm tired of these asshole guys that are always, I want to hear females out there. So why do you think there's an uptick in the networking and entrepreneurs, Claire?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, if you look at on the educational side, there's more women getting their degrees, including business degrees and communications degrees, than there are men. And that's just the fact. So there's going to be more women entering the business sectors. I think for me, having started in the 1980s and 90s, walking into rooms where I was the only, whether it's an only woman or still at times now, I walk in, I'm the only African American woman. The times need to change because it's 2025. And so even with intention, even like I said about this leadership group that we created here for Gloucester County, we intentionally sought diversity, sought not only in gender, but also in race, to make sure that we're feeding and building the next generation of leaders. And so I think it's just a natural form of who's entering, who's getting the degrees, that's feeding this need. But there's also a power that comes from female networking that it's, how do you say it? There's a creativity that we bring to the table that's a little different. I'm not saying that the men can't be creative. I'm just saying it's different. But we can also be genuinely about building each other up and not thinking that if I applaud you, then that means I'm not as good or I'm keeping myself down. No, we can build each other up by applauding each other. We can compliment each other without feeling like we're less than. And so I think there's a value that might be a motherhood type of a trait where you just look to nurture and feed and build. And so I think that's a lot of what you're saying in these women's groups.
It's funny. You just said something that really just popped in my head when you said not that men aren't creative. I want to be in a world where you don't have to say that. Yes. I mean, like a guy wouldn't say that. A guy wouldn't say creative. He wouldn't say not that women aren't creative. And I think that's makes a point of what I want to see. I want to see him, as I said, I always looked at my mother. I didn't look at my mom as a businesswoman. I looked at my mom as a business person. I do stand-up comedy. I never looked at someone as a black comic or a female comic or a gay comic. I just looked at them as a comic. Even in my podcast, Cooper Talk, CooperTalk.net, people, over 1,035 episodes. When I talk to a actress, I call them an actor because they are. And I think what you just said there points out that we still, and it is 2025, but we still have to grow a little bit. Not you, because you're all doing your shit. You're out there making things happen. But the men, I think, have to grow and stop being so closed-minded and get this out of their head. And that's me on my soapbox, as my dad would say to my mom, get off your soapbox, Rosemary. Michelle, why do you think there's a blow-up and you're an entrepreneur and you're out there networking and you go to the female groups. Why do you think that is now? And it's in the last 5 years, I think it's really blown up.
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of the men don't take us seriously, and even in the networking, it's a like a men's club. Like it's a lot of things are centered around cigars and different men related activities, and the women's groups have been more diverse in what we do. So it's not all centered around like guys things that they enjoy, and it's just it's the natural progression that we work together, and the men are trying to, like, saying like, well, how come we can't be a part of it? So they want to be a part of our groups, and it's working. It's gonna come where it's equal networking, I think.
But you always have to keep those female groups. Because that can't, it's like, and I laugh when guys go, oh, it's all female. Why are you going to go? Like, it's like, oh, well, you're an Eagles fan. Why are you going to go hang out with Cowboys fans? I mean, it's like, why do you want to go somewhere where it's not, you're not welcome, but it's their thing. It's like my mom, once to get back to my mom, she had a group called Chatter Club. My mom was a DZ at Temple, and she would meet with young Delta Zetas, but she had a group called Chatter Group. And they would come to her house, or they'd go to someone else, and there'd be like 8 women. And this was in 1970. And they would just empower each other, which is great. So, Julie, how about you? Because you're out there networking a lot, and you're a lot of business. Why do you think there's an uptick of women businesses, and why do you think the female networking groups have become so big and popular?
I love that you asked this question, and you used the following words were used that I wrote down here that I wanted to make sure I said: empowerment, caretakers, and nurturing. You gather a group of women together and they are going to get it done. No matter what, they're not going to stop till they get it done. So I think it encompasses those 3 things that we just said. We're caretakers by nature, a lot of us, especially being a mom. But so that comes from within, where we want to take care of others. We want to empower women to be able to take care of themselves. And we want to get them together, and we nurture each other. And if I could just give a little plug, I actually started a women's networking group almost, I guess it's about 2.5 years ago. During COVID, 2 female business owners that I work alongside of that are part of my business as well, Kelly Stento and Heather Esham, I said, we need to do a women's networking group. We're involved in other networking groups, but I said, we need to do one. And I'm not quite sure what we have to do. And we put our 3 heads together, and we just kept building up these ideas. And ultimately, we started this group called Just Cause. And the idea is we gather women together. We do it 3 times a year with goals for more, but we gather them together just cause, and we invite a local nonprofit to come and speak to us. After the nonprofit speaks to us and educates us on their needs, obviously monetary needs, but also maybe volunteer or sharing their social media pages or events that they do, we then donate to this nonprofit. And it has spiraled into 35 women getting together, listening to this. And we've raised thousands of dollars for local nonprofits in our community just by gathering women together in a room.
That's awesome. I'm going to stay with you because I actually wrote this next question down. And it's funny how you said it. My question I wrote was, how are some ways women can empower each other? So you brought up empower. How are some ways that women can empower each other?
Well, number one, by what I just said, but we can mentor each other. We can grab a coffee and learn about another woman's business and educate each other. There's so many amazing podcasts out there to listen to. We all probably know the Mel Robbins Let Them theory. Help one another in that regard. Share stories of our successes and our failures in our own business, learn from each other, from mistakes. Back to the event that I had this morning, the Coffee and Connect, it was men and women. And somebody said, I don't really like networking, but I know I have to do it. I feel awkward. But I said, but you never know, you could walk away with a connection or something, some piece of tangible something that you can implement into your business. So I think women empower each other by gathering together, building each other up, and sharing ideas.
Okay. How about you, Michelle? Because I know you had talked about Kim Leiby, and Kim's awesome.
Yeah.
Kim's a sponsor of Cocktails with Cooper, and she's very giving. She always has someone, she had someone else speak instead of her last time because people know what she does. But so, and you guys empower each other. But how do you think women can empower each other?
The same way that Kim and I are. We everybody has had a long path before them, and we've all been raised differently. I mean, differently, and gone through different experiences in life. Divorced, not divorced, kids, not kids, worked, raising your kid, all different kinds of scenarios. And it's empowering, learning about each other and what your journey has been, and introducing each other to different networking groups and different groups of people that they know, or their network of who they grew up with. It's just endless. Brainstorming. I love brainstorming with other women and men. I mean, I just love brainstorming. I think it's a great way to come up with great ideas for anything in life.
Okay. How about you, Claire? And so this is interesting because you also teach. You teach, so this is something that you probably cover. But how can women? What are ways women can empower each other?
I think that I'm going to use the word vulnerability, because a lot of what we bring to the table is experiences. And I want this for my children. I want this for my grandchildren. I want them to learn from what I've gone through instead of experiencing these bumps in the road themselves. So that's a lot of the process. If you're willing to be vulnerable and expose yourself to other women, listening to them with intention, with integrity, which means you don't go blah, 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 and whatever they're going through to others. And then I know for me, I gather with like-minded women on a monthly basis, to bring my concerns and cares, and they do the same. And then we don't just leave it there, but we take that and we pray for one another. That's important to me. That's a very foundational piece of who I am. And so with having people that's like-minded, I just went this morning to breakfast with Teresa DeVitro, and she and I in 2019 started this group of women who are like-minded, and wanting to, again, just be a support for one another in the county. Now we have over 100 women in our Facebook group. And again, we intentionally meet once a month to listen to each other, learn about what our cares are and what our needs are, and then really just take that to heart and speak into each other, try to give them some nuggets from our vulnerable stories, right? Having already learned and gone through the trials. And then we're not in control. And I think that's the biggest thing that as women we need to learn, is that you can't control everything. What you can control, control. What you can't control, pray, give it over to God. I mean, it just is that simple, because we end up carrying things that aren't meant for us to carry. So again, sharing our burdens, learning what you can control and what you can't control, and then just being vulnerable and being willing to open up and share.
Okay, see, that's good. That's why I like the female panels, because I can ask you different questions I'm answering, and you're more honest. So here's something you can be honest about. We're going to start with you, Julie. I went something personal and something professional that you're proud about through this year or last. So from 2024 forward, like I tell people, I'm very proud of Cocktails with Cooper, because when I built it, it was like 23, 24 people. Now I'm getting 70 people. I have 5 sponsors. I had a sponsor cancel, and 10 hours later, I had another sponsor in place. So that's something I'm proud of. Professional. Personal, I'm proud, because I have an awesome wife, and we're married for 5 years, and she's just great. And so something personal and something professional that you're proud of.
Okay, so I'm going to go personal first, because first and foremost, I am a wife and a mother, and that means the world to me. You already know I have 4 sons. I have 2 that graduated from Penn State. I have a sophomore at Penn State. And a week and a half ago, I found out that my 4th son will be starting at Penn State. They don't give a discount, by the way. So I am super proud of my boys and my Penn State grads and my other 2 that are on their path to Penn State. Second, every year with Best Version Media, I have this opportunity to earn a trip, an all expenses paid trip. And this year, between my personal sales with my role as a publisher and my sales of my division, Eastern Pennsylvania, again, where I lead a team of uh, entrepreneurs that do what I do, I earned the trip, and I am taking my husband to Cabo in 2 weeks on this trip through Best Version Media.
That's awesome. See, that's two great things,
Yes.
except for those Nittany Lions. I don't know why. I've never been a fan of Nittany Lion football. I think it's
Oh,
everyone
come
from
on, Coop.
everyone from Cherry Hill East. Cherry Hill East, they went to. So many people went to Penn State, and I just get so tired of seeing on Facebook, we are. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Listen, if you come to a Kovaleski tailgate, we are going to turn that around, and you are going to love Penn State.
No, I just love the booze and the food. Let's get real. I still won't root for Penn State. Claire, something personal and something professional that you're very proud of since 2024, so last year and a half, last 15 months.
I would say personally, I just am so thankful for my marriage. We hit 39 years in February. That means 40 years is coming in a matter of months. And I've already booked our 40th anniversary trip. And
Where are you going?
We're going to New Zealand and Australia.
Cool.
And I'm hoping that tag on a little bit of Fiji in there, but we'll see. But that's huge because my husband's not a big traveler. So, but I think my husband and my family are what I'm most proud of over this past year. My children, we have of course, our Eagles. We're big Eagles fans. We come together every Sunday that they play, and it's just our time. And so, I'm just proud that they have that commitment, even though they don't need to or don't have to. They want to be with us. And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my grandkids and so on. But I think that personally, I think that that spot where we are as a family is really not that we don't have our trials. We do. And there's lots to lots to be on our knees about. But we're really in a good spot with our family. And so I'm thankful for that. Professionally, I have been involved with the United Way of Gloucester County since 2019, so 25 plus years. And this year, I just found out last month that I'm being awarded the Volunteer Leadership Award, which is their top award. And I'm getting that on May 7th. It happens to be at the same time when our first cohort of Leadership Gloucester County will graduate. So we'll have 20 next-gen leaders coming through this program that I helped develop. And the first class will graduate on the same night that I'll get this award. So I am overflowing with joy at that opportunity on Wednesday, May 7th, to celebrate not only this accomplishment, but also their graduation.
That's awesome. Wouldn't it be crazy if your 40th anniversary was on May 7th? Man, I think your head would explode of joy.
Right.
Michelle, professional, personal, professional. You can do whichever one you want.
Okay. Professionally, this past December, I had to hit a certain goal to be invited to the Sales and Leadership Convention, and I kicked it into high gear and I made it. So I was very proud of that. And last night was great when I saw, one of my clients was wearing his suit from me, and he was so proud. And then the person that actually he was out with originally, that he asked, "Where did you get your clothes from?" And he recommended me, and that's how I got to. It's confusing. Anyway, they were telling me that other people were talking. Somebody just mentioned you and said you're great at what you do. I mean, there's nothing better than hearing that. That people are talking about you in a positive way with what you do. Personally, I have 3 wonderful children and an awesome daughter-in-law, and I couldn't ask for anything more. They all are college graduates. One, my oldest from Muhlenberg, my middle one from Lafayette, and my youngest from University of Colorado Boulder. She just graduated last May. And they all turned out to be great kids, and I can't ask for anything more than that. Healthy, knock on wood. Yeah.
See that? You guys all have a lot to be thankful for. That's good. So here's a question, and I've changed it up since I've started the show, because I want to know someone in the last 5 years who's been very important in your life and made a difference. It can't be a family member. Okay, we can't say, because everyone always says, "Oh, my husband or my kids," but someone. And Michelle, you can't say Kim Lai because we brought her up enough already.
Okay.
So someone, I'm gonna go to you, Claire. Someone in the last 5 years who's made an impact. You know, it could be someone who's mentored, or maybe even someone you've mentored, or someone you've learned something from that's made an impact. Who is someone in the last 5 years who has made an impact?
This is so hard because I can just give you 15 people.
Oops, sorry.
If I had to pick one person, I would say Teresa DeVitro. She's of Land Dimensions, but she's of so much more. But I would say why is because she's someone who is not afraid of stepping out and trying new thing or exploring something or pushing something. And she's taught me to do things afraid, you know? So sometimes you think you've got to have it all planned out and all smooth before you step out. But I think if I had one person that I would say, and she probably doesn't even think she's done this, but she's taught me to do things afraid. Doesn't matter if you have all the answers. Step out there, it'll come, you know. And so the big learning for me is to take that next step, even if I'm not sure of what that outcome is going to be. So that's what I would say.
Okay, how about you, Michelle?
I would have to say, I mean, there's plenty of people I could say this about, but I would say my sister-in-law, Melissa Goldstein. She runs a social media business, and she knew I was struggling with, by the way, it's called One Part Social. I might as well give her a plug because she deserves it. She knew I was struggling with branding myself, and she's the one that put me in the right direction with who to go to do my to make my new branding, and she's awesome, and I really appreciate that she, you know, took the initiative to push me in the right direction.
Okay, how about you, Julie?
Yes, there's so many people that came to mind. However, I'm going to have to focus on her name is Kim Wright. And Kim is the owner of 5 locations of Nothing Bundt Cakes. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Love them. I love them. I go to the one in Cherry Hill and Marlton,
Yes.
man. I can eat them all day and all night, man.
Oh, they're so it's all about the icing, I think. Anyway, so she was brought to me. She's one of the sponsors of my publication. I live in Montgomery County. She lives in Delaware County, but she owns 5 locations in and around the area. She also has 4 sons. So we immediately had that in common. But aside from that, her and her husband also have another business that they are involved in. And she mentors young women. She gives back, and she does it all with no effort. It's effortless to watch her own 5 locations, have 4 sons, you know, go to all these different networking things where she's on panels, she's asked to speak, she's won awards, but she's always there to give. She exudes grace, I guess is the best word for me to use for her. And I joked with her, but I really was serious. I sent her a message last week after she won this award. I said, "Would you be my mentor?" And of course, in her kind-hearted way, she said back to me, "We'll be each other's mentor." But I'm like, "No, I really want to learn from you." So she's just fabulous. So Kim Wright is my person.
Okay, so you're all respected professionals here, and you know, and when you're out there and you're all networking, you all get out there and you network and you're respected professionals, and when you are looked at in that view as people respect you and they know you're out networking, they ask you for referrals a lot. Okay, and we all know we work on referrals, which on a sidebar, it's really been irritating me lately on Facebook when people will send me a request to like a business I don't know. Okay, I can't like a business I don't know, because if that business sucks and someone goes to it, they go, "Well, Coop, we saw you liked it. Well, why did you like it?" And I said, "Well, I don't know him. I don't know. Because someone thinks so." Anyone who's listening to this or watching this, don't send me those like this business, especially if I don't know them. You know, if you send me your business to like if any of you send me your business, I will definitely like it. But don't send me that. So, Claire, for you to refer someone because you're respected, you're a professor, you teach, you know, you have your own business, so people will value your judgment. What qualities does a person or company have to have for you to sit there and refer them?
I would say the most important thing is integrity. I need to know that when I experience them myself, that the customer experience is good, that it exceeds the expectation, because that's really what brand equity is all about, is that, you are what you say you're going to do, you not only do it, but you exceed it. That's huge. So I think integrity would be the biggest thing before I can refer a client, that I've experienced it, that I know through others maybe that have experienced it, that this person is genuine and that they're going to um, have brand equity. They're going to have a stake in the game that's going to be sure to meet the expectations and exceed the expectations.
Okay, how about you, Michelle?
Same thing. Integrity is very important. And even if you haven't personally experienced their done any business with their business, but if you know them as a person and you talk to them enough to understand that they have integrity and good intentions and everything, I would trust them to refer them to somebody.
How about you, Julie?
Yeah, I mean, I piggyback on integrity, and authenticity comes to mind as well. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So I always say that, it has to be an individual that comes from a place of how can I help you, not what can you do for me. So authenticity and integrity definitely rank right up there.
Okay. So this has been fun. I'm heading into the last question. You guys have really, I've actually didn't get to a few questions but you guys have given very good answers, and it makes my job easier. I go looking for what. So anyway, I always end with this question, and it's funny because we've all mentioned mentoring, we've all mentioned things like that, and people will always come up to you. If someone comes up to you, and they could be in any part of their life, it can be just graduating high school, just graduating college, starting a new career, which so many people have, getting out of trade school, or just someone who wants to know, what's the answer? If you are put into a mentor position for someone to say, do you have advice for me? Especially a young female. We'll do it because it's an all-female panel. If a young female came up and, she maybe got stuck in a job where it was a man's world, and that happens, and it must be discouraging. If someone came up to you, and we'll start with you, Claire, because you teach kids, and I know you mentor. What advice do you give to someone? To a young female or a female middle-aged who's starting a new career? What do you tell her?
I think the trip up for some people is, again, that they need to be perfect, that they have to be able to do everything. And what I try to do is just listen to them, and then I say to them, if they're not teachable, then they're not going to be able to grow. And so I think that they need to be willing to take criticism, not just someone who's just tearing them down. I don't mean that at all, but criticism in a way that they can grow from it. And so oftentimes I find that I know how to do that. Yeah, yes, I can do this. Yes, but they're not. When you're coming to the table without an attitude of being teachable, an attitude of saying, well, I don't have all these strengths, but I can bring this to the table and collaborate and grow and grow in my competence and also strengthen the team, then you have something to work with. So I think teachability and being open to criticism would be one of the first things that I would work with them on. Now, you would think if they're coming to you as a mentor, in a mentee position, that would exist, but oftentimes, I don't know if it's this generation which makes them think that they have to have everything, all the boxes checked. But yeah, I think that teachability would be the first thing.
Okay. How about you, Michelle?
Well, I have the perfect person to talk about here, because my daughter, she just graduated from college, and she wasn't listening to me at first because I'm the mom, but she did listen and came with me. Her very first networking event that I dragged her to was yours, Cocktails with Cooper. And I said, I knew exactly who I wanted her to meet. And boom, we walked in the door, and there was Joe Gangemi. And then it turned into meeting you, and it just kept snowballing. And also, she was willing to eventually. She realized I kept saying, take courses if you want, to have the right background that you need to get the job that you want. So she recently did some online courses and got certified, and she's taking the steps that she has to get to where she wants to be. And don't be afraid to ask people for advice or help.
Okay. How about you, Julie?
Be yourself. That's what I keep coming back to. We all have different talents and gifts, and it's okay to make mistakes, because guess what? A lot of the times, no one knows if you made a mistake except for you. You have to give what you have to get what you want, if you will. So I would also say, to piggyback on the being teachable and coachable, always be learning, whether you're reading or you're blogging or listening again to a podcast. Don't take education for granted, and always educate yourself continuously.
All right. Well, this was great. I really appreciate you all coming on. Claire, how can people get in touch with you?
Riggs Creative Group, our website is RIGGS, C for creative, G for group.com, RIGGSCG.com.
Okay. How about you, Michelle?
The best way to get a hold of me is Michelle Roshkoff, MICHELLE ROSHKOFF
Okay.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I don't give your number out. I don't like people. I don't even give my number out. I never give it. Julie, how can people get in touch with you?
Julie Kovaleski. You can find me on LinkedIn. My publications you can find on Instagram and on Facebook, and it's Upper Providence Living, BVM. Or you can also email me at jkovaleski, KOVALESKI, at bestversionmedia.com.
So people go connect with these people. You can reach me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. On April 2nd, it's Cocktails with Cooper down there at Splits Bar and Grill in Laurel Lanes in Mount Laurel. Starts at 4:30. No cover, just pay your own tab. They have a great happy hour. We get anywhere between 60 and 80 people. That's April 2nd. April 3rd, reach out to me about the panel Claire's going to be on. See that? It's down there at Rowan, and we're talking about a lot of geared towards young entrepreneurs, so you can check that out. April 9th, I'm forgetting what it is. It's Corks Comedy and Connections. I'll be doing stand-up at the Soundplex in Pennsauken, great place. I'll be hosting, and my friend Buddy Fitzpatrick, who's been on The Sopranos and a bunch of other things, will be headlining, and he's so funny. I've known him since 1989. And don't forget, if you want to do a podcast, you reach out to Joe Gangemi. He's got the studio. And if you want to get coaching with how you interview people better, you reach out to me. And Joe, give a final plug to the Contap, because we all want to get the Contap.
Yeah, Coop. Yeah, man. Contap is the easiest way to share anything that lives on the internet in a digital space. It could be media, it could be website, resource, anything. It's as simple as a tap of a smartphone. It's way more than a digital business card. That's not even really what we're selling here. We're selling the future of connection. So learn more at contap.com, CONNTAP.
And also, I think Joe was talking to me. I think we're going to start doing this show live, so you'll be able to see it live. You'll be able to ask questions as we go along. It'll be on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So anyway, I'm Steve Cooper. Keep watching. Go rate. Look at all the past episodes of the Coop Tank. If you're a business person, you're listening to some of the best that my panels are. It's all about them. Anyway, you have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next time.